Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast courtesy of Popluck. You can find more episodes of Spoiler Force Podcast on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube, or on Facebook at facebook.com/popluckpodcast.
This is William Hung, and you're listening to the Spoiler Force Podcast.
All right, everyone, this is episode 36 of Spoiler Force Podcast, and my name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. I have a very special guest this week, someone that I was not expecting to get as well. This person has been on TV, on American Idol, on Howard Stern, Ellen DeGeneres, Jay Leno. Let me just introduce him, William Hung. Thank you for making this time for me, and thank you for being on the podcast.
All right, thanks for having me. I'm excited to share my experience and insights with your audience.
I know that when I was promoting this episode, what surprised me was that a lot of people still saw you as if you were still back in 2004 on your audition with American Idol, and that was over 15 years ago, roughly, correct?
Yeah.
And it wowed me because whenever your name is brought up, it's people automatically think that, and they don't ever think of like whatever happened to him after that, the audition and being on TV and whatnot. And so what I did was my buddies and we were watching some of like the American Idol auditions from way back then, and one of my buddies was like, Ricky, we should look up William Hung again, and he sent me like there's this parody video, I guess, that's on YouTube, and we watched it, and I was like, you know what, man? Because the last time I ever heard of you was way back when Facebook was first starting, and I think there was like a post where you were working with the Los Angeles Police Department or something like that. And,
Yeah, Sheriff's Department. Yep.
Yep. And then that was the last thing I've heard of you was back on Facebook. And then yes, I just took the chance and I emailed you. And what really surprised me was that it was the same day you responded back. So as a fan of your art and as someone who's followed your journey, it was really surreal, and right now, like, excuse my language, but like, holy shit, this is actually happening. But yeah, I wanted to share your story too, because I recently bought your book, Champion by Choice, and I bought, yes, I just finished it last night, and just reading your book, and I wanted listeners and whoever's like following your story as well to understand what you've done afterwards, after the American Idol audition and all, and pretty much like what you've been doing now with the public speaking and even professional poker playing.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the audition? Like, did you feel like the producers were kind of, like, after seeing it on air, did you feel like the producers were kind of, I guess, out to get you in a way to make you look like the Asian stereotype?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't take it personally. I think that's the best way I can put it. Because I understand that they have to produce a show that's entertaining. They have to produce a show that people want to watch. So I don't take it. I don't hold it against them. I realized that I took the chance to audition for American Idol. And overall, I'm grateful for the experience because otherwise I wouldn't be where I am today.
Just the mindset you have too is just like a lot of people don't see that as much, or lately they have, they're starting to now. But I guess for listeners, how did you maintain that positivity? I mean, because even on your audition, you told Paula that you did your best and you had no regrets. So how has that mindset always been, I guess, something that's been a part of you, or you just kind of learn that over time? How did you
Yes.
just okay?
Yes, my mom taught me that it's okay to fail in life as long as you tried your best. So that's always ingrained in me. And one of my key philosophies now, heading into 2020 and beyond, is I realize is avoid comparing yourself with others, because we always want to learn from people that are better and smarter than us, but at the same time, we don't need to be unhappy by comparing people near the top. Because if I feel that, if I were to do that, I'll be unhappy every single day. I'll be thinking to myself, how come I'm not the number one entertainer in the world, or in America, or in Los Angeles, or whatever it is? So instead of doing that, come from a place of being grateful for all the fans and people that support me over the years. Come from a place of being grateful for all the friends, coaches, and mentors I was able to have in my life because of this experience on American Idol.
So I guess like seeing how audiences reacted, that hasn't really bothered you as much, has it?
Sometimes I do question. It's like, wait, why do people react that way? For example, the media, like, why did they say like worst singer ever? Don't work. Why are you working in the entertainment industry? Um, that does bother me a little bit. But then I look past it. I just say to myself, you know what? I can't please everyone.
How did it feel? I mean, like, when did you feel like there were, like, I guess, Asian audiences that were? Did you feel like that there was like some sort of, I guess, negative aspect on you too, being portrayed in that spotlight?
I don't think too much about that. Yeah, I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of people writing about it, talking about it. But it's something that I don't have control over, so I don't spend any. I try not to spend time and energy on that.
I guess for a lot of Asian viewers like myself, we kind of it kind of just in a way generalized everyone, like this is like how I guess society sees us, and not to make you the mascot of that, but that's what they took advantage of. Even I at my young age was at fault for being a part of that audience and making fun of you as well. And but seeing your journey, and you've proven me wrong that you can make something out of that kind of experience. And just seeing you and how you are now, man, it's incredible to see that you're able to use that experience and to teach and to have people just listen to your stories. And just like what really stuck out to me was like how I think on your TED talk you mentioned having like thick skin. Is that something that still helps you out today as well?
Yeah, I would say by necessity, because I want to live my life happy and joyful every day, so that I can be the best version of myself and make the biggest impact for everyone around the world.
So like, how did you transition into to public speaking then, from like working at the police department till now?
So what happened was, when I first got my American Idol fame, I was on TV. I got this record contract. I was on a lot of interviews, and I wasn't very good with my interviews back then. And then after about 4 years living this dream life, traveling, performing everywhere, my entertainment career slowed down, and that's when I decided I wanted to go for a stable job, and that's why I worked for the sheriff's department for about 2 years, and then the public health department for the last 6 to 7 years. But then throughout that journey, I realized I'm not happy. There's more to me than being the average cubicle guy. So that. So after I started with the sheriff's department, I went on the website, and I saw the blue global logo for Toastmasters. So that's why I realized maybe I can be a performer again. It's almost like I want to do it just for fun, and that's why I did for many years, until like 3 years ago, when I feel like, well, maybe there is something more that I can do with speaking.
Just like how you speak as well now, like has public speaking helped you kind of like just adapt with like thinking on the spot with like interviews and being asked questions by fans? Like, has that improved your, I guess, being articulate more as well?
Yeah, it's tremendous difference. Right now, I'm much more clear on my value and visions and how I share that with people. Before, I was just all over the place.
And like I know that you in your book as well, like you mentioned that you learned how to, I guess, shorten your message with the public speaking, from like going from like I guess for like an hour to like 15 minutes or something like that. So you're better at now just giving the message directly.
Yeah, it's all about like knowing what you want to share and how you want to share it, within whatever amount of time you have. Could be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes. Is knowing the overall message that you want to share with people, and then you can figure out what content you want to include.
So the content that you talk about as well, is that only for like I guess business people, or is that for anyone that's like seeking help with succession or anything like that?
It's my book is definitely geared towards purpose-driven business owners and entrepreneurs. But I found that by working with one of my clients who's a mechanical engineer, everybody can use it. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, because it's about uncovering your inspiring personal stories so that you can connect with people. You can be seen as an expert. You can have that credibility and connection.
So are you planning to do more speaking with a more general or more broad audience now instead of just the small entrepreneurs and businesses?
Yeah. I would like to speak to audiences that values finding their voice with their content.
How did you come about with the TED Talks? Because I know that you've had I think two last year. Correct me
Yes.
if I'm wrong, but
Yeah. So it's one from last year and then one the year before.
oh, okay, yeah, because I saw the one from last year and I shared that on my Facebook fan page.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, and that a lot of people like that saw it were really surprised that you actually had a TED Talk, because apparently TED Talks now are like the popular things to do, especially with like public speaking and the whole theme of whoever is speaking. And just watching that video too, like you bring up what I guess were the tragedies, right? Like again, like the American Idol experience, but you learn from that, and learning from all these experiences and applying them. Is this something that you're also like teaching, I guess, in your public speaking with your audiences too, like to kind of just be able to just use what's bad to your advantage?
Yes. I so the way I teach people with my public speaking workshops and programs is I motivate people. I encourage people to look for personal stories where they experience some kind of failure or frustration, because everybody goes through failures and frustrations. So that's why we connect so much with that.
For me, starting my podcast last year and just reading your book recently, I even connected to the stories that you've had and being like just frustrated with, I guess, rejection, and just being, and I guess a lot of it's mentally just when you're critiquing yourself really and just trying to figure out like if what you're doing has value to it. And just again through your book, like just being positive has a huge part of what you're doing as when you're pursuing your whatever you're trying to succeed in. And I guess I'm pretty sure you've had some times where you did feel depressed and like doubtful. Overall, being trying to be positive, is that what really just kind of dug you out of that whenever you were down?
Yeah, I remind myself that I have a choice to be happy every day. I mean, I could choose to be upset or happy, one or the other. So why not be happy?
Even on your Facebook Live videos, like the message you have is always about positivity. And I think the one that was recent was the one when you were at the airport and how you handled that situation. Like, I guess a normal person would have been upset, like with the five
Oh,
hour delay.
absolutely. It's like last. Imagine if your flight's about to take off, and then the captain says, "Sorry, we can't take off. It's gonna be we don't know the estimated time when we gotta fix the airplane. It's the last flight leaving Richmond. Oh my God, yeah, so it's a normal feeling. I had the same thing. I'm human, but then once I process that, I understand that's beyond my control. I can't change that. So what can I do to make the situation better?
Man, it's like I love that the insight that you have, because I think I wish a lot of people saw that about you instead of just assuming that you were just the person who auditioned on American Idol, because the insight that you have is very applicable for anyone, and especially with today's age, with a lot of the younger youth being more, I guess you could say, sensitive, and no one really has thick skin anymore. And I think what your content has is very helpful with especially the younger youth. Now, I know I want to take this back a little bit back to when you were still a child. You mentioned you in the book that you love video games and competing, and
Yes.
so being competitive and taking those losses, was that kind of like the first step of just trying to, like, I guess, mold your character too?
I didn't think of it that way when because as an 18, 17, 18-year old, I just wanted to do whatever felt like it was fun and rewarding. Whether it's video games, whether it's trivia competitions, but yeah, I would say that's definitely part of me. Video game is still part of my life. I love gaming. This competition is part of my life. I enjoy competing. So somehow, yeah, all those things shape my character for who I am today.
And I did want to say this too because I was surprised that that you were a Final Fantasy X fan, and that is still today my favorite Final Fantasy game. And
Really?
I know that they have that Final Fantasy VII remake coming out. It looks beautiful, but to me, I think
Yeah.
story wise, 10 was the best one.
Yes, yes. That's my favorite as well.
Now I guess being competitive, is that why you're into poker now too? Because with poker, it's about
Yes.
reading your opponent, and pretty much everything that you do before you actually even see the cards is like just mental, you know. And is that something that's been a part of what you've been doing too, like trying to apply what you've been learning into poker? Is there like some sort of, like, I guess, metaphors or comparisons with that too?
Oh, absolutely. I love that's the most valuable lessons I learned beyond making a little bit of money, because poker, you can't control the card, but you could only control how you play, and then sometimes just one card can change the entire fortune of the hand. So a lot of the observations and lessons learned we can apply in real life.
And how long have you been playing poker? I know this. I know, like, recently you've just said that you wanted to be a professional poker player. So how long have you been playing?
I've been playing for over 15 years.
Oh wow! So
Yeah, since my American Idol fame, I feel that I needed something to do besides performing, something else that's different, right? And I know there's downtime in between the travels, the interviews and whatnot. So that's why I just try it out, see what happens. I've been playing for fun for a long time, but I would say I only took the game seriously the last couple of years.
okay, yeah, because I'm not too big on poker. My dad is though, and I don't know if you. I'm pretty sure you know who this player is, but like Scotty Nguyen was someone that I
Oh
always I
yeah.
remembered watching on TV and playing, like, because that was like one of the few poker players that I remembered, him and like Jerry Yang, and
Oh yeah,
so like I'm familiar with the game, but I'm not too good at it. I give a terrible bluff call, and people could read me easily.
yeah.
And so, like, I guess observing your opponents as well, is that something you learn to pick up to, like just kind of reading their body language and trying not to give off your toe? Is that something that you learned over the
I,
years
I
too?
I think that part is overrated by a lot. It's a common misconception, because it's more important to focus on their betting patterns, like what they do in typical situations. Are they playing too many hands? So focus more on the common behavior in common situations, rather than, oh, does he give this huge towel in this big pot? That's not yeah, that's not very common. It doesn't come up very often.
Okay, so yeah, so that, because like usually that's what a lot of people kind of focus on too, is like their toe. But I never thought of it that way, to where you just look at their patterns and see how their betting style is. Um,
Right.
how does it feel though? I mean, like when you do play poker and like and you bet so much just to lose like that, and to stay positive with that, because like now you're betting money that you have to either save or use, and when you lose a huge amount, does that, I guess, how do you kind of just overcome that feeling?
That is something that took a lot of inner work for me to shift my mindset. Now the way I approach the game is so much better than before, because now I just grade myself. Am I playing my best poker? Did I play my A game today? Did I play my best poker today? And I just focus one hand at a time. It doesn't matter if I'm up 4,000, down 2,000, doesn't matter. I mean, not that doesn't matter, but overall doesn't matter because I focus on playing making the best decision possible, one hand at a time. I mean, in terms of like how I'm perceived, of course, that part I do pay attention to, but I focus more on how I perform, right? Because before, like you said, like it's easy to be down on yourself, and I still have those negative thoughts in my mind when I'm losing, because most people play worse when they're losing. That's the truth. So I had to remind myself, hey, you know what? I played the hand to the best of my ability. I played it great. Not a big deal. Focus on the next hand.
For me, especially like, if I'm losing, that's exactly like you said, man. It's you get more frustrated. You give off a lot more energy when you're trying to win all that money back, and I can only like imagine, like I've never really played over like a few $100s, but to lose thousands, man, I don't know how I'd really react to that.
Yeah.
But man, I think that's great though, because that you're using your, I guess, the things that you've been teaching with the sport, with poker, and still using it to your daily life, and it's something that I guess you're living your truth and self-expression, and it's a part
Right.
of your art. Um,
Right.
so I mean, when you do these like workshops and when you help teach people, is this like, I know that you do the public speaking, but do you also have like one-on-one sessions too with clients?
Yeah, it's also for their public speaking for their stories, what to share with the world. So that is part of what I do.
Choosing to be a champion by choice, which is the title of your book, is this something that, I guess, naming the title that of what you chose, champion by choice, is this like you want to be as positive as possible? Is that why you named the book champion by choice?
Actually, the name of the book, I was inspired by a conference I spoke at a couple of years ago. That was because champion by choice was their theme, and I loved it. I loved it because I feel it represents who I am and the way I live my life. It's like people chose me to be the champion, even though I didn't have the best talent, even though I might not be the most skilled. People chose me anyway, and I feel that people can choose to be a champion within their own communities if they are willing to put in the effort.
How did the process go? I mean, did you just decide to one day get up and write the book, or is this something that you've wanted to do over time?
I would say after attending that conference, I don't know the exact time frame, but I remember it was maybe like later that year or next year. Uh, I attended a festival called Podfest, Podcasting Festival. It's called Podfest. That's the name of the event. And then I met Julie Broad from Book Launchers, and I saw all those cool books, and then I was visualizing in my head, wow, maybe I could have a book too, because no matter what speech I give, I feel that I could not go into detail about my life, the lessons learned, and what people should get out of it, right? So that's why I wanted to leave the legacy of the written word. That's why I wrote this book.
And do you plan to write more books as well? I guess later years as you gain more experience.
I'm sure I will. I'm just not sure when right now because my this book, Champion by Choice, it came out October last year, very, very recent. So I'm probably gonna give it at least another year or two.
Okay, and like I said, man, I really enjoyed the book. And for those who are listening, you could buy it on Amazon. Yeah, and you can also get it on digital platforms. And reading this book has helped me a lot within the past like week or so, and especially with, again, having the negative thoughts and whatnot, and seeing your perspective on how to stay positive. I wanted to just ask you too, like, how does that feel though? Like, what if like there were no more? What if you have no more positive moments? You mentioned you have great friends that are also a good support group for you too, right? Do you always go back to
Yes.
them too?
Yes, I'm very blessed to have my inner circle of friends, coaches, and mentors that are very supportive. They want to see me get to my final how do I say it? They want me to have the best journey possible on my way there.
Do they also do something similar to how you're doing too, like with the public speaking, or is it just like they're just various different occupations.
Different various occupations. Some of them that are also coaches and mentors for their industries. Other people that they are financial consultants. There's co-workers, that still loves the public health. So it's a very diverse background.
Do you have any advice, I guess, for anyone that's trying to succeed and get past these negative thoughts? Do you have any advice for people that are trying to do what they want to do?
One of the most valuable lessons I learned from all these things I tried, whether it's poker, entertainment, speaking, everything else, even my work. One of the biggest lessons I learned is to take personal responsibility for your own progress.
And did you have any plugs or anything that you wanted to shout out, I guess, before we wrap things up on the podcast?
Well, let me elaborate a little bit on the lesson that I shared about taking personal responsibility for your own progress and what that means. And I don't want people to interpret it the wrong way.
Okay.
Taking personal responsibility for your own progress. There's a lot of things that we do not have control over. We do not have control over how much money we're going to make by the end of 2020. We do not have control over how many clients are we going to get in the next 3 months. But we do have control over what kind of content we put out. We have control over how do we show up every single day, whether it's to our friends, family, whether it's our health, our fitness, our sleep. We have control over those things. So that's what I mean by taking personal responsibility for your own progress.
And that's perfect, man. And again, did you have anything that you wanted to, shout out or plug before we wrap things up on the podcast?
So the best way for people to get in touch with me is to go to willhung.com, www.willhung.com. From there, you can reach out to me, and I'll be happy to help you uncover your inspiring stories so that you can grow your career and your business. So the idea is, again, I also want to clarify what that means. So the way it works is that you can schedule a strategy session with me, and then I will decide whether we are right to work together, because I like I described on my website, I have very specific characteristics I'm looking for in terms of people I want to work with. Ideally, it's not just someone that's like totally have no idea what to speak about, but someone that's has some speaking experience. They know what kind of impact they want to make in the world, and then I can step in to work together to create that impact.
So you wanted a more personal kind of relationship with the client then?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, it's like someone that has some speaking experience as well, because I'm very specific with what I laid out on my website.
Okay. And all right. So I guess this is the end of the podcast. William, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for your time, because this meant a lot to me personally, and I'm very glad that you're doing well in your life as well. And I hope that you do well with your poker too.
Thank you.
So this is the end of episode 36. Make sure you follow William Hung on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll have those links in the descriptions for all social media platforms as well. And also, I did want to thank Baemong and LP for letting me use their music for my intros and outros for my music as well, or for my episodes as well. And if you live in the Michigan area, make sure you check out Indochina Gardens. That's one of the best restaurants in the state of Michigan, near Boyne City, Michigan. That's where it's at. Make sure you check them out. They have great service there, great food, and it's a great area to go to. Again, thank you, William, for your time. And I hope you have a great day. And also, if you ever want to come back on the podcast, let me know, and I'll make time for you for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Ricky.
All right. Yeah. Thank you again. And everyone, thank you for listening, and have a great day. you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, comment, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. For comments, questions, concerns, and criticism, you can email Spoiler Force Podcast at popluckpodcast, popluckpodcast @gmail.com, or contact me personally on Instagram.com/RickyVang92, RICKYVANG92.